Bring the heart.
It's time to get loud.
Let's go! Because this is Betfred Super League.
Bring it on.
Got me here. It took a big chunk out of me. Bleeding. It's bleeding. Oh no, it's bleeding. The thing just ripped my ear off. What do you think?
Hello everyone and welcome along to a special edition of Eddie and Stevo the podcast, sponsored as always by our friends at Betfred. So this week the Betfred Super League takes a breather as all roads lead to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London for the 2022 Betfred Challenge Cup final. And so I thought it would be fascinating to get an insight into what's going on behind the scenes and get the thoughts inside the two cup finalists' camps. It's Wigan against Huddersfield, of course, and first up, I sought the views of Lee Briers, the Wigan assistant coach, 6 months into his new job, having left Warrington after 25 years' service at the back end of last season. So for Lee, it's 6 months now, and here he is in a Challenge Cup final. Did he ever think it could happen so quickly?
Going to a club like Wigan, you kind of feel that pressure straight away that, you know, you must try and get in these big finals. So even though I could feel that as soon as I joined, to get one straight away, you know, it's like a dream come true. But, you know, the boys were great in the semi-finals, so thoroughly deserved the place in the final.
Absolutely so. And as you say, you've left Warrington, you've gone to a big club like Wigan. Do you feel on a personal note you've proved that Warrington were wrong to let you go? Warrington
had their reasons, obviously new coach and whatnot, and I had nothing to prove to anybody but myself to make sure that, you know, I am a decent coach. And I'm lucky enough that I'm working with a great team at Wigan in Matty Pete and Sean O'Loughlin, and I'm adding my worth to that organisation. But I must admit, the quality players we've got at Wigan, it makes my job a lot easier.
You're working alongside Matty Peace, as you say. Now, he was an unknown to many of us before he was appointed. Just tell us a little bit about him, because he seems to be Wigan through and through.
He is Wigan through and through. You know, he's from a fan on the terraces to, you know, being their head of youth and all the academy up into the reserves and assistant coach. And so he knows what Wigan is about. And, you know, he's implementing in how he thinks the Wigan team should play. And, you know, he's very smart. He's maths. He studies the game, and his man management's second to none. And, you know, if he keeps going on this trajectory, he is already one hell of a coach as well.
He is. Just how does it work, Lee? Because you mentioned yourself, Matty, Sean O'Loughlin, and of course Sean Wayne is there as well. It's quite a lineup, isn't it?
Yeah. So obviously with me, Matt, and Sean O'Loughlin, we do the day-to-day stuff in the coaching, and we all have our say on, you know, offence and defence and how the team should be set up. Matty Pete has the last say, being the head coach, and then obviously you've got Sean Wayne, who's his role is about the leadership of the club. So you know, from commercial to mentoring our leaders and making sure that everything's going in the right direction. So there's a real good balance at the moment. We're working real well together.
You are, and personally, you've received a lot of credit for the work that you've done already at Wigan. Commentators, podcasters, players, everyone, it seems, that mentions your name thinks you're doing a fantastic job. So on a personal level, you must be absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, it's nice to hear, Eddie, but, you know, as you well know, this is a team game, and we are a team, and, you know, I'm just as important as Sean and Matty, and likewise they are, and we all have our, like I said, we have our ideas on how the game's meant to be played. Luckily that we all think along the same lines, but sometimes we don't agree, which is real good as well. That's real healthy, and we come to an agreement once we leave the office that we all agree on, and we take that plan forward. But listen, I'm just part of a great organisation, and it's nice to be mentioned in those terms. But I'm just a small part of a great organisation. What's going in the right direction at the moment.
Listen, you've always been a modest gentleman, I know that. But Harry Smith, he's blossomed this year, not just as a goal kicker and a drop goal kicker, but all round. I fancy you've had a bit of influence on him.
Well, listen, Harry's always been a really talented kid. I've watched Harry since he's been 13. He's always been the number one player in his team, and he was always up in the academy at Wigan as well, and obviously England academy when he tore the Aussies to bits. The problem what Harry had was last year, he had a bit of an injury with his shoulder. Well, it wasn't a bit of an injury. He had reconstructive surgery on his shoulder at the end of the year. He's a young kid, 20 years of age, and he was put in charge of the Wigan attack, if you like, which didn't go right for various reasons. When you take Tommy Lulai out, Jay Field, Bevan French, you lose a lot of strike power there, and so there was a lot on Harry's shoulders, and I think a lot was put on his shoulders too early, and that probably weighed him down. And we just had to get Harry, playing again with confidence and believing in his ability, and not put too much pressure on him, which is key as a young kid. He knows the game, so it's letting him play the game and not holding him back too much. But also, in saying that, he needs to understand the role that he plays in the team is really important. So there's a mixture of things, but he's doing okay at the moment. He's getting some plaudits, and rightly so. But only one game away from getting criticism again. So we just got to keep working hard with him, making sure he understands how the game, let him play the game how he likes as well, and we go from there. But we're kind of happy at the moment with him, and we just got to keep letting him express himself in the way he should be able to.
Well, I bet you are happy with him because he's, as I say, he's blossoming into the role. And through to the Challenge Cup final now, beating Saints in the semi-final. That's got to be the best result you've had so far.
Yeah, and it was a great win in the semi-final, because obviously we played them 2 weeks previous at Good Friday, and they beat us. They beat us fair and square, 22-4-6 was it? So quite a resounding win for them. So we knew that we put in a great performance for 40 minutes, but is never going to be enough against a great St Helens team. But in general, you learn a lot more in defeat than you do in a win, in my eyes. And so we come up with a plan, and obviously then give the lads a plan, and they had to execute it. And I thought they executed it for 65 minutes absolutely perfect. Saints were always going to have a say in the semi-final, but we just needed to kind of hold them and hold on to them and not let them take it too big of a lead.
Yeah, and the second half, they fought back, and then you eventually got on top of them. The plan worked, so well done for that. Looking back on your career in the history books, way back in 1997, you helped the Saints to the Challenge Cup final. Then you were left out of the match itself at Wembley when Bobby returned. How did you cope with that? Did that sort of help you develop as a man and as a player, and now as a coach?
Yeah, well, obviously at the time you don't think that it will affect you, 25 years down the line, but it does. At the time, you probably, you're gutted that you're not going to be playing in the Challenge Cup final. But listen, I wasn't gullible enough to think I was going to take Bobby Golding's place in the Challenge Cup final. I knew my role was, to stand in while Bobby was out, so I had no problems with that. Yeah, gutted that I probably didn't. I was gutted more of that. I wasn't going to go down with a team to Wembley and, to the hotels and whatnot. I was just going to go with the academy. That's what I was gutted about. That's why I ended up leaving. It wasn't that I wasn't going to play. I understood that. But yeah, you use that kind of disappointment to fuel you, don't you? You don't ever want to be in that situation again. But, we always speak about the squad. It takes squad effort to win the big games. And we're going to have disappointed players this week, but they need to understand that the bigger picture for us to win is that everybody is on the same page and training as hard as you can to help prepare the 17 what play. And that's the experience what I will be drawing on and telling them exactly the same, which I have done at my previous clubs.
So if someone is left out for Tottenham at the weekend, you'll have all the armoury behind you. You'll be able to tell them how to cope and how to deal with it.
Yeah, hopefully can give them some good advice, and hopefully they take it on board. Listen, there's going to be some very disappointed people this week because we've got a fully fit squad. I say fully fit, we're nearly fully fit, so there's going to be disappointed players, of course. But it's how you react as a player to how well your culture and your team philosophies are.
Well, you know what it takes to win the Challenge Cup, of course. 2010 against Leeds, 2012 against the Rhinos again. What will you be telling the 17 who are going to take to the field at the weekend this week?
Well, it's about not playing the occasion. It's a massive occasion, isn't it? So you need to be in the moment, playing, taking every minute as it comes, and that's exactly what you got to do. You got to stick to the game plan, be calm, but also enjoy the moment. It's a final. Enjoy it, take it all in, but making sure that you're in the moment.
And it all goes so quick. You're right. To try and be able to relive the memories later on in their careers. A week after the semi-final victory, you faced Huddersfield in the Super League. Now, look, I think this was a bit of a phony war, wasn't it? So many players missed the game. You shouldn't be worried by the defeat that Huddersfield gave you, I'm sure.
No, I don't think it'll stand for anything. They probably went a bit stronger than what we did. But, it's going to be, I reckon our cards are kept to our chest on both teams. And it won't matter really about that result. It's a different competition, a final. And, it's two good teams, really good teams going up against it. It should be a cracker of a game. It
should be. And that win in the league, it showed for Huddersfield, it showed the strength of depth that you both have. And certainly at Wigan, you've got some great youngsters coming through, haven't you? Should any of them have to play in the final, you won't be concerned about them, I'm sure.
No, and that's correct. We've got some really good youngsters coming through, and we want, Wigan has always been renowned for, playing whoever. If you're good enough, you're old enough. So we know that if we had to call up at anybody, we've got some fantastic kids there who'll just step right in.
How do you see it going? Because Huddersfield will provide a challenge, won't they? You won't be underestimating them, I'm sure.
No, not at all. You can't underestimate them. There's no place for complacency. They're a quality team. Ian Watson's got them playing outstandingly well. They're really good attacking side. They know what they do, and they do it really well. So we'd have to be on our mettle. It's going to be a tough game. It's anybody's game, like finals are anybody's game. So we need to make sure our preparation's right this week and going fully focused to get the job done.
And you're obviously enjoying this new challenge, but what would it mean to be part of this coaching team to win the cup so early on this journey?
Oh, listen, it's just a notch, to tick off. It's whether we win it this year, next year, or whatnot. It's all about winning. Whenever that comes, it doesn't really matter. But like I say, there's a long way to go before we can think about winning. We need to make sure that we're in the moment and not thinking too far ahead.
Will you personally be able to enjoy it, or will you be a little bit nervous as you must have been as a player before a massive game like this?
No, I'll totally enjoy it. It's as a coach, you need to get your preparation right, your videos right, and once you've done that and you've ticked every box, well, it's over to the players, and you can't really do any more than that. And it's making sure that we are composed and we're cool and we're calm and we're not playing the game too early, and making sure that we're saving energy for that big game.
Does it matter it's not at Wembley, that it's at Tottenham? I mean, it's new ground and it's a new challenge. It's a brand new stadium. It'll be a fantastic occasion.
Yeah, that just adds to it, doesn't it? Because it probably wouldn't go there again. So it just adds that, we could be the only team ever to win at Tottenham Hotspur.
Fantastic. What a thing to put on your CV, and yet another notch on the old belt, Lee. Look, I said before, will you be able to enjoy it? I'm sure you can, and that's the most important thing. Go out and enjoy it and have a fantastic afternoon.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. We definitely will, and only way you have a fantastic afternoon is if you win.
Indeed so. Lee, all the very best, and thanks very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
No worries, thank you.
There's a great cup tradition at Wigan. No club has won the trophy more often than them. And so Lee and everyone at the DW Stadium is looking forward to the occasion, as they are, no doubt, at the John Smith Stadium in Huddersfield. Ian Watson, their head coach, is just 18 months into his job of trying to steer the Giants back to their former glory days. He's a former Welsh international teammate of Lee's, and so he too is looking forward to the big day on Saturday. And after a fantastic performance in the semi-final, when they blew Hulkingston Rovers away, now for the challenge of Wigan. But can they do it again?
We'd like to hope so, and it'd be a great day if we could do. Obviously it was a great performance that day, and the team did everything that we'd spoken about and applied the pressure to OKR, which obviously ultimately got us the win. So hopefully we go about the same things in the Challenge Cup final and get the result again.
Absolutely. I'm sure you're doing all your homework now, and you won't be giving us your game plan. But are there any weaknesses in this Wigan team, do you think?
Oh, every team has strengths and weaknesses. It's obviously for us to make sure that we execute what we want to do and our plan to make sure that we open up them weaknesses. Obviously, Wigan will be looking at us and thinking we've got weaknesses and they can open us up, and we've just got to make sure that we're at our best to make sure that they don't exploit ours, but we exploit theirs.
You've been at Huddersfield just 18 months. How big an achievement is this for you personally, to get to a final in only your second full season in charge?
Oh, it's big because of probably the history of the club as well, and obviously with the owner, with Ken being here and the way he speaks about the club and the amount of time and effort he's put into the club over the years. You kind of want the club to be successful for Ken, and you want Ken to experience the good days. And so, yeah, it is big for us to come in and reach Challenge Cup final for the second year. It's a big step forward from where we were last year.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Ken Davey. I mean, he's one of rugby league's gentlemen, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's an outstanding bloke, to be fair. He's really interested in listening and talking to him about things that he's been through in his career and things he's faced as well. And he's been down and spoke to some of the boys about things like that. And he spoke to all the boys before the semi-final about how much it means for the club to be involved in the semi-final and to be getting to a final if we could achieve that. And he speaks really proudly of the club. So, like I say, you want to do really well for Ken.
I'm sure you do, and you would want to have done that from day one. But I mean, let's be fair. 2021 was a difficult year, I'm sure. How disappointed were you that things didn't go quite as well as you'd hoped from minute one? Because you finished 9th in the table last year, didn't you?
Yeah, and it was a really slow start, to be fair. But like life, not everything goes smoothly, and you get a few bumps in the road, and not everybody's always on the same page. And I think probably what happened at the start of the year, obviously I was brought into Huddersfield because there were issues, because the team obviously wasn't doing so well the years before. So coming in, obviously it was about assessing what was wrong really and finding them issues and making sure that we fix them issues going forward. And I feel halfway through the year we got a real good take of what all the good young lads were about and what they wanted to do and what they wanted to achieve. And they really kind of kicked us on there. The last 10 games, I think we won 6 or 7 out of 10. So that was a really good kind of period for understanding the club and understanding what we wanted as a team and where we wanted to go to. The rest of it was about fixing up what we felt the issues were, and I feel like we've done that really well this year in some of the terms of the personnel that have come in.
Very much so. I just wonder, personally, did you ever have a nagging doubt? Did you ever doubt your own ability to achieve what you want to do at the John Smith Stadium during that last year?
You look at everything, you kind of analyse everything, and when things are not going well, you probably overanalyse a lot of things. And the big thing for me was that I knew that what processes we wanted to get in to be able to make the team successful. It was getting all the players kind of on board with that and being able to strive to achieve the same things. And I think what I felt when we got to Huddersfield was that there was a lot of individuals, very, very good individual players, but not necessarily a team who played together and played to each other's strengths. I think now we play to each other's strengths, we understand each other, and we're a lot better for that.
Well, no one should have doubted you if indeed they did. I mean, look at your record recently. 2019, Salford to a grand final. A year later, Salford to Wembley and the Challenge Cup final. What lessons did you learn from those experiences, and what have you taken with you to Huddersfield, looking back on those 2 defeats, knowing what's coming this weekend?
So the first year when we took over at Salford, obviously we managed to manage ourselves out of the eights, obviously after Yestin had left, and then we changed the team a little bit, and that team we felt had built a really good base the year after. Now, we ended up in the £1 million game, and everyone talks about the £1 million game, but that team actually wouldn't have been in the £1 million game except for having the points deduction from the salary cap, which was breached a few years before that. That actual team would have sat in the top 8. So we felt we was going in the right direction. We just had to navigate getting through the £1 million game as such. The following year after that, we kept more or less the same group of players. We added a couple of players to it. We went to a semi-final of a Challenge Cup final, and we finished 4th in the league. That was where we started to believe into our processes that it was the right thing to do. Obviously, then we ended up facing a situation where we had to sell players. Players were cherry-picked off. So we ended up having to go back into a rebuild stage, which we probably struggled a little bit, to be fair, throughout that year. And then, obviously, we rectified that later on in 18 at the back end of the year by bringing Joey Lussick and Jackson Hastings across. And then obviously the rest of it's history on the back end of there. But you learn from every opportunity that you face. And I felt probably myself and the coaching staff understood a lot about how to do the processes by them couple of seasons, more so than what happened in 19 and 20. We kind of understood what it took to be able to be a playoff team and what it meant to be a semi-final team and get into Challenge Cup finals and grand finals. We felt we got a real good grasp of what it was, and we still live by a lot of them methods now. Myself and Greg Brown, that's what we kind of brought to Huddersfield, along with our assistant S&C, Carl Potts. We're really focused on the process and how we go about training and preparing for games.
Fantastic. What do you say, Ian, to clubs and supporters who appoint a new coach and things don't go right? You know, they're obviously fans, they are fanatics. Yeah. The board can also be at times a little bit impatient. What do you say when things don't actually go quite right in the rapid timeline that they would want? You know, how do you calm the nerves down?
Oh, it's more of understanding the process and understanding where what you're trying to achieve and what you're trying to develop. So not all the time do you come in. I always focus it more like a business. When you open up a business, you don't just come in and start making £1 million profit a year. You might break even that year, and you've got to go through the processes and build them as you go forward to be able to be successful. But likewise, you've got to understand each other individually and collectively as a group. So if the individuals don't see eye to eye, then you're never going to get a team performance. So the key thing is making sure that you get the right people in, and then building in and around that. And then obviously the rest of it takes care of itself. If you've got good people in who are willing to work hard and willing to compete, then that's your base which you start off. And then over time, you'll get it right. Not everybody's... You look at Warrington now, and Darryl's been well regarded as a really good coach over the years. All of a sudden, he's not just lost the way he coaches or changed the way he coaches. He's got a belief, but he's got a new set of players which he needs to get on board with the style of play that he wants to play and the way that he feels would be best for the team.
Absolutely. Patience, as they say, is a virtue. Listen, yeah. A week after you qualified for the Challenge Cup final, you beat Wigan in Super League. Yeah. Do we read anything into that? I've just spoken with Lee Briers, your old Welsh international teammate, and I said to him, this is a bit of a phony war, wasn't it? So many changes for both of you, but 32-22, great performance, quite a win for you.
Yeah, it was a great performance by our boys, but yeah, read nothing into it. I mean, Brazier and Matty P will probably tell, read into it, and they'll be talking to their pack saying, we had a full strength back out, and they beat us with a different change of lineup as well. So they'll be using that as a little bit of motivation. But for me, it was just a different game that day. It was just about getting the performance. You've seen probably a couple of tired teams as well. I know we made quite a few changes, and the lads that came in, you could see the difference in their energy levels and the way that they went about the game compared to a few of the guys who had played the semi-final the week before. So I think different game. The cup final will be a different game, different probably tactics as well, and different personnel. So everything will be different on that one. So I'll probably read nothing into that one.
No, I think everyone who's wise will say, well, let's just see what happens at Tottenham this weekend. Look, Wigan haven't won the Cup since 2013. 2009, Huddersfield lost to Warrington.
Yes.
That year they beat the Saints in the semi-final. It can happen, can't it? It can happen.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we keep Wigan losing and we get the win. That's what it's all about. It's about going there and getting the win. I think, like I said, we went with Salford a couple of years ago, and being on the losing end, especially to a 1-point loss, to a drop goal, wasn't the nicest place to be after a game. There was a lot of emotion flying around after that game, and a lot of upset as well, because it's a big opportunity to get there, and then take the opportunity is massive. So we want to go there and win.
I'm sure you do, because you have joined a club with a glorious past, as you so rightly say. 6 Challenge Cup wins in all. I was only just born when they got the last one, 1953. You were a twinkle in somebody's eye.
Yeah, a long time for me.
But it is a club with a glorious past, and I'm sure, that is motivation as well. It's been a long time, as they say, between drinks.
Yeah, well, we've spoken at length about the team of all talents, and how they kind of managed to dominate for a long period of time, and that's what we want to do, and that's what we said as a club and as a team. That's what you're always trying to emulate. You're trying to emulate the teams of history and the successful teams who've won trophies and held them for a long period of time. So, like the Saints at the moment, they're the most recent team who've created a legacy for themselves over the last few years. What we want to do is we want to create our own legacy, where the team of all talents isn't the only team Huddersfield kind of can talk about. They can talk about the team of 2022 and onwards.
Very much so. And as I said, this is the club's first final since 2009. But this year, I mean, look at the names you've got. Tui Lolohea, Theo Farge, Ricky Latelli, Josh Jones, Ollie Russell now, Jermaine McGilvray. There are match winners. They're big game players. People are saying we're going to go down there and they'll just walk all over you. Think again. Again.
Yeah, they're outstanding players in their own right. You look at Tui. Tui came across to Leeds, and then he came to Salford to us through that year and ended up playing the grand final. And I still believe if Tui hadn't come to us that year, I still don't believe that we get to the grand final without Tui. And then year after, Challenge Cup final, Tui involved again. He comes to Huddersfield with us this year now, and we're competing again for a Challenge Cup final, and hopefully competing for silverware at the end of the year as well. And it's players like Tui that make a massive difference. But it's not just about what you see is their attack and how good they are at flair, but it's the work ethic you see in, day out with Tui at training, and the way he adapts himself to the team to do the right things for the team in defence and attack, whichever is needed to. He'll make sure that he puts his best foot forward. And all the other guys that we spoke about there, Ricky Latelli, Chris McQueen, Chris Hill, Theo Farge, they're all the same. They're all about team first. They're not about themselves as individuals. They've not got no ego. They're about themselves. They're about the team, first.
First and foremost. And you've got some incredible youngsters as well. I've mentioned the name of Ollie Russell. I know that you think that perhaps your youngsters aren't quite getting the recognition from elsewhere that they might deserve. I'm thinking about the England Knights selections.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. We've got Ollie Wilson. It's phenomenal at this moment in time for a young front rower making his way in the game, along with Owen Trout, Matty English, young Sam Hewitt, who obviously played so well against Wigan last week. And then you've got Oliver Russell. You've got some of the young guys with Innes and Lewis Senior as well. So one thing that I knew about Huddersfield is they had a really, really good youth system, really well led by Andy Kelly. And them young players just needed to be bred through into the first team, but they needed the right players to kind of show them how you go about things. And I believe Chris Hill's put people under his wing and started showing them how you go about things. Same with Luke Yates has done with some of the other guys. And Jermaine McGilvray and Leroy Cudjow's phenomenal. He's outstanding as a bloke and somebody who kind of tries to get the younger players to come through the right way and show them what it takes to prep and prepare to play at the highest level.
Fantastic. I mean, you mentioned all those names, and it's no wonder you're at Tottenham for this final. Now, you're up against your old Welsh teammate, as I said earlier, Lee Briers. Any message for Lee and for Wigan?
Oh well, what's it? We're going to just focus on ourselves. But I know Lee will be trying to run pickles. He'll be looking for anything. There's any bit of motivation. Will Lee and Matty. So yeah, we'll just focus on ourselves and let Lee worry about unpicking us, because he's been doing a great job this year along with Matty as well. And it's going to be great just to have British coaches involved in a Challenge Cup final with myself and Luke Robinson, and then you've got Matty P and Lee Briers as well. So British coaches competing for the famous kind of Challenge Cup on what we grew up on. So it's going to be an outstanding occasion. I'm looking forward to it.
Hear to that, by the way. Young British coaches. Great to see you all there at the final. Personally, a win on Saturday afternoon. I mean, you're already recognised as a fantastic coach, Ian. You know, I'm not blowing smoke up your backside or anything like that. But you were recognised already. But personally, what would it mean to win?
Oh, it'd be massive. That's why you do everything. It's to win. It's not to just get to a final. My thing is I want to win, and I want to win as much as we can as well. And you're not just happy with. We got to the final the other year, and we spoke, myself and Greg Brown, after that game, and just saying that we come here again, and next time we come here we win. We don't lose, because this isn't nice of what we're facing now. So hopefully we go back and we get the win.
Oh yeah, it's a long way home if you've been beaten, isn't it? A long way home.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, just a bit.
But what about a message to any Huddersfield fan listening to this? They'll be dreaming of the victory too, won't they?
Yeah, they've just got to get behind us, do what they've done this year. They've been outstanding. The numbers have been getting bigger and bigger every time we've been playing, and hopefully we can get to Tottenham and we can have thousands of Huddersfield supporters there. We know that the Football Town team might be there for the playoff final that weekend as well. So could be an absolute massive weekend for Huddersfield as a community, and just get everybody there and get behind us, and the support matters to us as well. So because I know Wigan will have a fair few there. So yeah, we need to get Huddersfield fans down there and support us to a good victory.
And if it happens, Ian, at the start of something big?
Yep, I believe so. This is we said it after the semi-final. This is the first step for us. This is what we spoke about when we first come in, and what we wanted to build to, and now you can see it's kind of developing, and what we want to do is keep going on and go bigger and better all the time. So get this Challenge Cup final now, and then move straight on to the grand final and playoffs, and see where we can get on there, and then just keep building every year basically.
Fantastic. You've got a great attitude, you've got a great ambition. Enjoy the occasion. Will you be able to?
Oh, I don't know if we win, I will. So, yeah, while the game's going on, it'll probably be a bit nerve-wracking. So, yeah, hopefully we do enjoy it after the game.
Ian, been great to talk to you. Thank you for giving us your time, and all the very best indeed. And I'm sure you'll be shaking hands with Lee Briers one way or the other at the end of the match.
Yeah, lovely. Lovely to speak to you, Eddie. Thanks very much.
So there we are. The scene is set. Tottenham on Saturday, and glory for either Lee Briers or Ian Watson. Thanks to both of them for taking time out of their busy cup final weeks to talk to us. May the best man win. Next week we are back to normal on the best podcast about rugby league knocking around, and we'll get Stevo's verdict on the final, and a lot more besides, I'm sure, when we catch up with him 12,000 miles away in Australia. Until then, from me, it's goodbye, and thanks for listening.